I want you here to live.
Once the population exceeds the planet's ability to sustain it.
Hollywood poured over $1 billion into the 10 films you're about to see, and most of them vanished before the popcorn went stale. Films built with A-list stars, visionary directors, and unimaginable budgets, all buried under their own weight. And here is what will shock you most. One of them had Steven Spielberg's name stamped on it, and a director fresh off Iron Man, and you still probably haven't thought about it in decades. Another one cost more than the GDP of some countries, and disappeared so fast the studio chairman lost his job before the credits finished rolling. These aren't just box office flops, these are cultural ghost stories. And there are only 10 of them. Number 10, Oblivion, 2013. Back in 2013, Tom Cruise sat perched on a rock in Iceland, 800 feet above a glacier, accessible only by helicopter, filming what should have been his next great sci-fi triumph. The studio believed it. Universal poured roughly $120 million into the production. And yet, here we are, years later, and most casual moviegoers struggle to even remember the title. And here's the thing, Oblivion wasn't cheap, lazy, or rushed. It was meticulously crafted. Director Joseph Kosinski personally designed the now iconic Sky Tower using his own 3D renderings, modeling it after the legendary Pierre Koenig Stahl House. That set was built inside Louisiana's Celtic Media Center, a 30-acre facility housing 150,000 feet of stage space. What people missed was how obsessively real they tried to make it. Instead of green screens, Kosinski used 21 front-screen projectors aimed at a massive wraparound backdrop. The visual effects alone totaled 804 shots, split between Digital Domain and Pixamondo. Cruise was commanding roughly $20 million plus back-end points. Morgan Freeman was there. Game of Thrones breakout Nikolaj Coster-Waldau joined. Jessica Chastain was originally cast as Julia, but Cruise himself released her from the contract so she could film Zero Dark 30, and she publicly thanked him for it. Oblivion earned $37 million domestically its opening weekend, then got steamrolled 2 weeks later by Iron Man 3. It closed with $287 million worldwide. Respectable on paper, but after marketing, Universal barely broke even. Number 9, The Darkest Minds, 2018. 20th Century Fox saw what Lionsgate did with The Hunger Games, what Summit did with Divergent, and decided they wanted in. They bought the rights to Alexandra Bracken's New York Times best-selling young adult novel, The Darkest Minds, handed production to Sean Levy's 21 Laps Entertainment, and set a budget of $34 million. On paper, the model looked bulletproof. But by the time this movie actually hit theaters in August, the YA dystopian craze had already collapsed. But Fox pressed forward anyway. They hired Jennifer Yu Nelson, the acclaimed director of Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3, giving her first live-action feature to helm. They cast Amandla Stenberg in the lead role of Ruby. Harris Dickinson, Mandy Moore, Bradley Whitford, and even Game of Thrones star Gwendolyn Christie filled out the cast. On paper, this had pedigree. In fact, this film was not bad at all. The action sequences were coherent. The performances were committed. The source material had a devoted fan base that showed up online with genuine passion throughout production. But despite the huge budget of $34 million, the film looked like it was shot at the cheapest locations Atlanta had to offer. Fox still invested in an aggressive marketing campaign, plastering posters and trailers everywhere, hoping to spark the next Hunger Games. And then everything changed on opening weekend. The Darkest Minds grossed just $6 million domestically across 3,127 theaters. It was one of the worst wide-release openings of the decade. Worldwide, it limped to $41 million. Number 8, Stealth, 2005. Sony Pictures spent around $135 million making Stealth, and that number does not include what they spent on marketing. Director Rob Cohen, fresh off The Fast and the Furious, was so confident in the project he turned down an important project to make it. The truth is, Stealth had every ingredient for a blockbuster. Jamie Foxx had literally just won the Academy Award for Ray. Jessica Biel was one of the rising stars of her generation. Josh Lucas was coming off Sweet Home Alabama. The U.S. Navy cooperated fully. Additional filming took place across Thailand, Australia, and New Zealand, including a controversial attempt to shoot in the Gross Valley Wilderness of Blue Mountains National Park. The budget funded elaborate CGI jets, real naval cooperation, international location shoots, and 3 genuine movie stars commanding top-tier paychecks. On paper, it was Top Gun meets 2001, a space odyssey with an Oscar winner headlining. The soundtrack alone is legendary. Incubus wrote 3 original songs. Cohen was such a fan he reportedly wouldn't stop asking them. A little-known Colorado band called The Fray had a song included called Over My Head, which hit number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became the 5th most downloaded single of 2006. And then everything changed when audiences actually saw it. Stealth opened to just $13 million, finishing 4th that weekend behind Holdovers. It limped to $79 million worldwide total. The final loss clocked in at a brutal $111 million, cementing its place among the worst losses in cinematic history. Number 7. Æon Flux, 2005. In the summer of 2005, director Karen Kusama walked onto a Berlin soundstage, believing she was about to make Paramount's answer to Blade Runner. 4 years and 3 separate studio administrations later, that dream was unrecognizable. Æon Flux was greenlit by former Paramount chief Sherry Lansing as a cerebral dystopian showpiece. Then Lansing got replaced. The new production chief, Gail Berman, reportedly saw the film as closer to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Then she got replaced too. By the time the third administration took over, executives yanked Kusama out of post-production entirely, sliced 25 minutes from the final cut, and left behind an 82-minute movie that made almost no sense. The budget was $65 million, with costly shoots at the Treptow Crematorium, the Adlershof Wind Tunnel Facility, Sanssouci Park, and a 1790s veterinary dissection theater that was turned into the Handlers Command Center. These were locations no film crew had ever been allowed inside. The production was massive in scope. Theron, fresh off her Oscar win for Monster, headlined. Frances McDormand joined. Johnny Lee Miller, Pete Postlethwaite, and Sophie Okonedo filled the supporting cast. On paper, this was prestige science fiction with serious awards pedigree. And then everything changed on day 10 of shooting. During a sequence of back handsprings, Theron landed on her neck, herniated a disc, and later admitted she was literally 1 centimeter from being paralyzed for life. Production shut down for an entire month. Æon Flux opened to a dismal $12 million in its first weekend, then grossed just $52 million worldwide. Number 6. Mortal Engines, 2018. Peter Jackson optioned the rights to Philip Reeves' Mortal Engines novels back in 2009, right when the YA dystopian craze was exploding after Twilight. The project sat dormant for nearly a decade. By the time it actually went into production in 2016, every studio that touched YA material was already running for the exits. Warner Brothers passed on co-financing. Fox passed. Nobody wanted to bet big on a steampunk epic about cities on wheels eating smaller cities for resources. Jackson eventually brokered a deal where media rights capital covered half the budget, Universal took on 30% with global distribution duties, and Chinese financiers Legendary and Perfect World picked up the rest. The production budget officially landed at $110 million. Behind the scenes, Jackson co-wrote the screenplay with Fran Walsh and Philippa Boyens. He handed directing duties to Christian Rivers. Hera Hilmar, an Icelandic actress best known for Da Vinci's Demons, got the lead. On top of the production spend, Universal reportedly invested an additional $120 million on a worldwide marketing blitz. Mortal Engines opened and earned just $7.5 million domestically. The worldwide total limped to roughly $83 million. Jackson's dream of a new fantasy franchise died in a single weekend. Number 5. Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, 2017. Luc Besson had been obsessed with the French comic series Valerian and Laureline since childhood. When he was making The Fifth Element back in 1997, he actually hired the comic's original illustrator, Jean-Claude Mézières, to help design that film. Mézières famously looked at him and asked, "Why are you doing this other movie? Why aren't you making Valerian?" At the time, Besson said it was technically impossible. Then he saw Avatar, and his mindset shifted. Besson decided to personally finance the film himself, refusing to give up creative control to any studio. The production budget climbed to roughly $180 million, making Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets officially the most expensive independent film ever made. Besson even struggled to get French tax benefits because he chose to shoot the film in English instead of French. He had to personally lobby the French government for an exemption before they eventually amended the law entirely because of him. Costume designer Olivier Berriot oversaw thousands of individual pieces of costumes. The pearl species alone required months of motion capture development and digital construction. The big market sequence featured over 200 distinct alien species, each designed from scratch. The cast included Dane DeHaan, Cara Delevingne, Clive Owen, Ethan Hawke, John Goodman, Rutger Hauer, Elizabeth Debicki, and Rihanna, who performed a lavish, burlesque, shape-shifting sequence as the character Bubble. On paper, this was meant to be the next Star Wars. Unfortunately, Valerian opened and grossed just $40 million domestically, finishing with $226 million worldwide. Number 4. Jupiter Ascending, 2015. In 2009, Warner Brothers president Jeff Robinov walked into a meeting with the Wachowski siblings and made a request. He wanted them to create an original new franchise, something brand new, something at the scale of The Matrix. What the Wachowskis pitched back was so ambitious, it nearly broke the studio. Jupiter Ascending was inspired by Lana Wachowski's love of Homer's Odyssey and The Wizard of Oz. The original proposed budget was staggering. Mila Kunis later revealed that the Wachowskis originally wanted roughly double what they eventually got. The studio slashed the figure in half before cameras even rolled, and Kunis said she knew immediately the film was doomed. Even after the cut, production still hit $176 million. During production, Channing Tatum had to wear a custom mouthpiece to reshape his lower jaw for his half-wolf character Kane Wise, making it physically difficult for him to speak for months. Tatum later called the production a nightmare from the jump. An 8-minute chase sequence through downtown Chicago, codenamed 52 Part by the crew, was so complex that Kunis and Tatum shot it every single day for 6 solid months. Eddie Redmayne played the villain Balaam Abrasax with a whispered, breathy delivery that became legendary for all the wrong reasons. On paper, this movie had everything. Oscar-caliber cast, legendary directors, massive production value. Despite all these, Jupiter Ascending opened to just $18 million. Its final global tally was $183 million, meaning after marketing costs, the estimated loss exceeded $100 million. Number 3. Cowboys and Aliens, 2011. Back in May 1997, Universal and DreamWorks jointly paid $500,000 against a $1.5 million back-end for something that barely existed. It wasn't a script, it wasn't a novel, it was literally just a drawing. A drawing of a cowboy holding a pistol next to a spaceship. That single sketch, pitched by Scott Mitchell Rosenberg, spent the next 14 years bouncing through Hollywood development hell before finally becoming Cowboys and Aliens. And here's the thing. Steven Spielberg played a significant role in this film and couldn't save it. The original version of the film was written as a goofy comedy, but after Wild Wild West flopped catastrophically in 1999, the entire tone was scrapped. Multiple writers, multiple studios, multiple rewrites. The final screenplay had 5 credited writers, including Roberto Orci, Alex Kurtzman, and Damon Lindelof. Steven Spielberg himself came aboard as executive producer. Ron Howard produced. Even Robert Downey Jr. and Harrison Ford joined. On paper, this was a slam dunk. The budget swelled to $163 million. Beyond productions, Universal threw tens of millions more into a massive marketing blitz with brand partnerships from Nestle, 7-Eleven, Sprint, Comcast, Hilton, and NASCAR. The movie was plastered on popcorn buckets nationwide. Then came the biggest red flag of all. When the first trailer dropped, audiences laughed. It was so bad that Universal's marketing president publicly admitted to the disconnection in the film. He said they had to reconcile the comedic impression of the film's title with its serious tone. A Super Bowl-even spot tried to fix it, even Steven Spielberg. But the damage was done. Cowboys and Aliens opened to a disappointing $36 million in its first week. It finished with $174 million worldwide. Number 2. The Adventures of Pluto Nash, 2002. The script for Pluto Nash had been floating around Hollywood since at least 1983. The project spent nearly 2 decades being rewritten, passed between directors, and loosely attached to various stars. Nobody could crack it. Nobody could fix it. Then Eddie Murphy signed on, and the chaos all accelerated beyond everyone's control. Director Ron Underwood later admitted he spent 4 full years on Pluto Nash, only to watch it slowly fall apart. Production began in 2000 in Montreal with a budget of roughly $80 million. The cast was stacked beyond reason. Eddie Murphy played dual roles. Rosario Dawson, Randy Quaid, and John Cleese all joined. On paper, a major comedy star, a strong supporting ensemble, and a veteran director should have delivered something. In reality, that was never the case. Underwood himself said in an interview that there was no inventive thought, and Murphy just wasn't feeling funny during production. The script was giving, yes, it's just that the jokes did not land. The action sequences felt disconnected. The Adventures of Pluto Nash opened to a catastrophic $2.1 million across 2,320 theaters. It finished with a grand total of $7.1 million worldwide and remains the worst loss ratio of any major film ever made. Number 1. John Carter, 2012. Before the entire modern idea of science fiction even existed, Edgar Rice Burroughs published a novel called A Princess of Mars. The plot followed a Civil War veteran mysteriously transported to the Red Planet, where he discovers he has superhuman strength due to the lower gravity and becomes entangled in an epic alien conflict. And yet somehow, a century later, Disney managed to adapt it into the biggest single-film financial disaster in Hollywood history. Here's the thing. Andrew Stanton convinced Disney to let him make the jump to live action with a project he had dreamed about for years. Disney gave him the keys. And that was the first mistake. Not because Stanton lacked talent, but because he approached a live-action blockbuster with the same iterative process that defines Pixar animation. In fact, the gross budget of John Carter ballooned to $307. Even after a $42.9 million British tax rebate, the net budget was over $200 million. Taylor Kitsch was cast in the lead. Lynn Collins played Deja Thoris. Willem Dafoe, Thomas Hayden Church, and Mark Strong filled supporting roles. What people missed about this movie is how terrible the marketing truly was. Disney changed the title from John Carter of Mars to simply John Carter, terrified that anything evoking Mars would remind audiences of their recent flop Mars Needs Moms. The trailers looked like perfume ads set on dusty landscapes. Nobody could explain the plot. When John Carter opened, it finished with a worldwide gross of $284 million. Disney publicly announced a $200 million write-down, the largest single film loss any studio had ever officially reported at that time. And there you have it, the 10 biggest sci-fi films that were instantly chilling with the dust. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, drop a comment with the forgotten sci-fi film you think deserved better, and subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's most expensive disasters.